You know what's wow? You can be brilliant, respected, and paid really well and still have no idea of what really lights you up. Why? Because you've done all the things that you were supposed to do, but you haven't done the things that you want to do. If that resonates with you, then this video is for you. I am Daisy Jones Brown. I'm a business and mindset coach. I'm also a retired Air Force person, a federal leader who's retired, and an entrepreneur. I'm also your go-to coach for those federal employees who want to transition into entrepreneurship. I came from a very humble beginning. For the first 6 years of my life, I lived in a home with no running water, and now I've gone to over 25 countries in 5 continents. What did I do different? I learned to dream out loud. I learned how to bet on me, and you can do that too. In today's video, what we're going to talk about is how do you find your sweet spot? How do you find that thing that helps you bet on you? A lot of high achieving women, we've achieved a lot, but we have lost the joy. We've done all the things, but we've lost the spark that makes us want to get up and do the thing that we wanted to do, that we've already dreamed about doing. And so when we get the opportunity, like a lot of us are doing right now in the federal government, either forced transition, retiring, early retirement, regular retirement, what happens is we get here and we get to this spot and we freeze. We freeze because even though we've done all the right things, no one has ever taught us how to bet on ourselves and what we need to do to bet on ourselves. We've always been sort of in praise for what we've done and not really who we've become. So it becomes a moment where we have to reinvent ourselves and redefine ourselves so we can decide who we want to be in this next season in our second half. It's really all about realigning with who you are and what you're becoming and what you want to be and what you want to do. And that's all about finding your sweet spot. And that's what I'm going to do for you in the next 3 steps. We're going to go deep into how you find your sweet spot. So step 1 is really about identifying your skills that you want to monetize. So most of my career with the Air Force, I was a licensed professional counselor, but I didn't do a lot of therapy. I did so in the early days, and then I was a guidance counselor, and then I really started to get into management. I was managing all sorts of programs. Some of you heard of some of those programs, if you're listening, like the SARC program, suicide, etc. And so in doing that, I was managing people and programs, and I was exhausted after a while, exhausted at just doing the sheer volume of the work and doing it all and really just kind of being on alignment with what I really like. And so one day I just really thought about it and I said, when was the last time that I had joy at work? When was the last time that I felt lit up at work? And it took me back to the time where I was actually a guidance counselor. I was a guidance counselor. I was helping people put the pieces together. I was helping people map out their dreams. I was helping people dream out loud, thinking about what they wanted to do next. I've had all sorts of people that I helped when I was a guidance counselor. I even had a pilot that I helped. He was a pilot and he wanted to be a chef. Now, what a big switch is that? So people have these dreams inside of them. And I was in the position to witness that and help pull that out of them. And I got so much joy from doing that. And in my office, I always would notice that people would come in and out and they would have a seat and that we would have a conversation and we would talk and they would talk about their dreams. They would talk about things that they've thought about. They would talk about places they wanted to go, things they wanted to see. And they would always say to me, Daisy, you're so motivational, you're helpful. And one of the things you really do is you let me know I have options and you always help me put the pieces together. And then when I would come home, I would get phone calls and the conversations would still continue. And I really didn't know what to make of all of that. And one day my husband said to me, he said, hey, People are always asking you for advice and talking to you and coming to you. You really should get paid for that. But I had no idea. It never dawned on me that what I did naturally, really just being me, was this superpower or my zone of genius, some skill that could be the foundation of a business that I wanted to start. But once I started looking at what I wanted to do, I realized that it could be a basics of how you start a business, that I was really good and naturally good at helping people put the pieces together as a coach. So I wanted to take that and I wanted to leave like all those things about what I may have done at work or experienced at work that traumatized me and leave them behind. Because see, I thought I had to build a business that had nothing to do with anything that hurt me or were traumatized at work or whatever, a toxic environment. It made me want to leave the whole thing. But really, I just needed to leave that drama there, and I needed to take those skills and bring those skills back here to actually monetize. And so that was me finding what I needed to monetize first, and the first piece of finding my sweet spot. So I want to give you a quick win in step one that you can do too. I want you to write down the things that you do with ease. And then write down the things that people call you or come to you or talk to you about all the time. And then the things that don't feel like effort. You feel like you just do them naturally, but always makes a difference for someone. I want you to write those things down because those things are actually your clues. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to realign with who you are and recognize who you are. And my friend, that is the first step in learning your sweet spot. So let's get into step two. So step two has all to do with connecting with your passion. Just because you're really good at something doesn't mean you're passionate about it. It also doesn't mean that you need to start a business around that. So let me take you back to 2011 when I had and started a wellness business. And when I mean by wellness, this was that movement when everything was happening around the natural hair movement. Unfortunately for me, I was in one of those situations where I was in a salon and I actually had chemical burns from a service that I had in the salon. And I went to a dermatologist because of my scalp and etc. And I truly had to cut all my hair off and start over. So I really was moved into the natural hair movement probably before I was mentally ready to be there. And so I had to cut all my hair off, and they wasn't sure if my hair was going to actually grow back. And so I started researching, becoming a chemist, quote unquote chemist, and decided to make my own products around natural hair so I could try to grow my own hair back. I must have did a really good job at it because I had a really good product that I made that actually grew my hair back first. And then people were asking about it. What was I using? What was happening? Because my hair was starting to look really nice. I started giving it away at first before I started selling. And once I started selling it, I was like, hey, I got the story. I got the passion behind this. I could probably make a lot of money. So I got serious about it. I wanted to turn it into a business. I even got so serious about it that I worked with this cosmetic chemist to create a couple products for me because I was going to create a whole product line. But then I started to really understand the business of the hair industry. And baby, no, it was not for me. It's for a lot of other people, but it really was not for me. I didn't understand it that way, nor did I have the passion about it. I was tired of what I call baking cakes. I did not want to do another homemade product again in my life. My hands were hurting, things were hurting, and I knew it was going to be a lot before I could scale to manufacture. So it was just not something I wanted to do. And so I had to lean in to learn, okay, well, what do I do now? Do I want to stop and not do business at all? Or do I want to find a way to pivot into something that really lit me up? So what did I do? I pivoted. I gave myself permission to go back to coaching, helping people, supporting women, It was the thing that I do. So I was already doing some coaching in a sense. I was a licensed professional counselor, so I was doing counseling and mindset, etc. But I really wanted to add the business piece to it. So because, as you know, in the federal world, integrity is everything. Because of that, and I wanted to do things in integrity, and I wanted to structure myself this time when I stepped out into learning how to really grow my business. So I was fortunate enough to enroll in Rachel Rogers, who's the owner, multimillionaire owner of Hello 7, in the Hello 7 business coaching certification. And I did her year-long program, and I really learned the foundation of how to start and grow a business and beyond that. And so I really have what I need now to put myself in position to grow my business and to also help my clients. And so that's what I did, is I pivot back into what it is that I really love, and I gave myself permission to do it well. And that showed me that I could come back to coaching. It was already in me. I just needed the courage to really just claim it. So I want to give you a quick win for step 2. I want you to ask yourself this: what am I doing right now that I'm good at but not passionate about? What would I love to do even if no one paid me for it? And that's the difference, my friend, between chasing opportunities and stepping into your calling. So the third step is research and market alignment. So let's talk about this for a moment, because a lot of people want to skip this piece because maybe it's not fun, or they think they could just skip it and go around it because they think they know who they want to work with. Well, I thought the same thing. I thought, hey, I'm a high achieving Black woman. That's who I want to help. I can work with any other high achieving Black women, or I can work with all high achieving Black women. No, that's not how that went. I still didn't listen to what the market was saying, or I still didn't listen to anything. And I had a coach that tell me, hey, Daisy, why don't you work with federal women? And I said, I don't want to limit myself. But that was really just scarcity talking. That was saying, I don't want to limit myself because I think I'm leaving money on the table, or I'm limiting who I could work with. And so I went on still trying to work with just high achieving Black women. And if you're trying to help everyone, you're actually helping no one. And so I had a second coach. To tell me, hey, Daisy, why don't you work with federal women? You know that world. And that time, I actually let it sink in, and it resonated with me. And I was like, you're right. I know that world. I understand that world. I came from that world. I've been in the federal space since I was 18 years old when I came in the Air Force. And now I've been in that space 35 plus years. Yes, I understand that world. I understand the culture, the language, the nuances of it. I understand the compliance issue that people have when they want to step into entrepreneurship. I understand the emotional toll of it. I understand the dynamics of that. And it's probably the people that I could serve the best who wants to come in this type of world. And so it finally dawned on me where and who I needed to serve. So I leaned in, not just what I wanted to do, but to who I was positioned to serve. And I didn't just guess. I started doing all the things so I could go deeper into the research as well. I started surveys. I had a poll. I did a focus group. I talked to colleagues. I talked to friends. And I started asking them lots of questions so I could get to understand the people I'm supposed to work with the best, my avatar, my ideal client. So I would ask them, like, if you had your own business, what would it be in? And what would you need? What stops you from starting your own business, even when you're working your 9 to 5? Like, where do you hang out online? What podcasts you listen to? What books are you reading? And what do you do on your off time? Where do you eat? Where do you relax at? Where do you do your retreats? Where would you like to travel to, etc.? I started to get to know even federal women on a different level so I could serve them best with whatever problems they may have when it came to starting and growing their business. You really have to go deep into learning who you're meant to serve and learning if the market is there for you to serve them in such a way, because that's the only way you can speak to them and they know you're talking to them. So once you can learn how to do this, then you are falling into your sweet spot. So if you're really not sure who your ideal client is, ask some questions. Talk to them, have conversations, put a poll out there, understand that, because once you can understand that, you can understand what part of your body of work you need to bring to the table to solve their problem. And a lot of times, a lot of the confusion when we're starting businesses, we want to bring all of our body of work to the table. But you have to know which part is needed to solve your ideal client or your avatar problem. And that is really how you move from confusion to clarity on your sweet spot. When you can identify the skills you want to monetize, when you can connect that with your passion and your purpose, and you can align it with a real market that's out there and ready to pay. That is how you find your sweet spot. And when you hit that alignment, everything changes. It changes because you don't feel like you're actually working anymore. You feel like you're actually just out here doing what you are supposed to do. It starts to feel natural. It starts to flow. It starts to feel like you're just walking in your flow. It's the best type of flow you will ever have, living in that sweet spot when all three of those things align. But you have to take some time to do that. And you have to go deep to do that. I would take those quick wins if I were you, and I would write them out, and I would take some time with them, and I would study them. And then I would say, wow, I'm amazed at some of the things I found that I thought I was just going along and just doing things automatically. And now I have a better idea what align with my sweet spot. So I really wanted to share with you one of my clients who's a senior executive within the federal government. We call them SES. It's Senior Executive Service. When she came to me and she wanted to do coaching on her business, to start her business after she retired, we started talking about all her skills and how much she had reached the pinnacle of her career and the top of the federal government. But that's really not what she wanted to do. She really wanted to work with mid-level women to really help them have executive presence, to really help them have really good emotional intelligence, because she wanted them to optimize who they really were. And when she would talk about that, she would just really light up. I said, well, that's your sweet spot. So let's design your coaching offer around what you really lights you up, what you really want to do. And she did that, and we did that, and now she's selling that offer. She's making lots of money from that offer. But she didn't start from scratch. She just needed to build out from her sweet spot, and that's what she did, and you can do that too. So now it's your turn. Let's find your starting point. Pull out your journal and answer this. When was the last time I felt energized, like lit up at work? What were you doing? Who were you helping? What did it spark in you? That moment is more than a memory. It is your map. And if you're ready to turn that moment into momentum, come join me inside of my private Skool group called Federal Women in Business. I'll walk you through my full framework on how to put your sweet spot together. I'll help you validate your ideas and give you tools to launch your business where it feels like the business you are always wanting to have, a purpose-driven business. And we build purpose-driven businesses together inside of the group, and we would love to have you there. And if this video resonated with you, hit subscribe. Drop a comment, share it with another woman that you feel like it will help, who's trying to have her second half be her best half. And I really want to leave you with this, sis. You're not late. You're not tired. You're not far behind. You're just one decision away from walking in your sweet spot. Let's build it together. And I'll see you back next week with another video.